ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya 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 hey hey yo Fort Beck Community College Uki Ebino yo Itu Gashi Dagush Kashka Yogi Piano yo Wata Pebi Hagi Ktabi Ichachi ya Bino Hey yo hey ha ya hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey ha yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey ya hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ugi Ebino yo Mitu Gashi Dagush Kashka Yogi Piano yo Wata Pebi Hagi Ktabi Ichachi ya Bino hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey hey yo Fort Beck Community College Uki Ebino yo Mitu Gashi Dagush Kashka Yogi Piano yo Wata Pebi Hagi Ktabi Ichachi ya Bino hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey hey yo Fort Beck Community College Uki Ebino yo Mitu Gashi Dagush Kashka Yogi Piano yo Wata Pebi Hagi Ktabi Ichachi ya Bino hey yo
Mitakuepi, Yushkewan Chiankampi, Chantewastea, Yuhana Pitches Apido. Okay, Elijah Hopkins Demie, Wana, Wachinja Wakpa, Dechia, Diana Hipido, Mitakuepi. Hello, relatives. And again, thank you for joining us here on the Buffalo Chasers podcast. I want to thank our students, the employees joining us on the Zoom call. And also those of you that are joining us out on Facebook, on our live stream, thank you for joining us today. Again, I'm Elijah Hopkins, our Buffalo Chasers podcast. We are at week number 31, I believe. Every Thursday from 3 to about 4 o'clock. We try to be here, but today some things came up and we had to switch it to Friday. So our apologies for that. And so one of our co-hosts, Mr. Tommy Christian, he's unable to be here today as some other obligations, but me and Dexy Earl going to hold down the fort here and do the best we can here. I do have a few announcements to make here, but we try to usually offer a prayer. Dexy Earl, wacheya kie oyaki hihe.
Ja, dat versterkte.
Oh,
Before you say your prayers, you customarily usually get your mindset with some cedar or sweetgrass or tobacco, and so get your mind to remember a lot of the things that need to be prayed for. So every day, many of our people rise and say thank you for the new day. Give thank you for all the good things. And so le ampetu gde mana woche ke wakaringte. Tokashila. Waleha tuki he wana wetu hihuni. So taku ichage ki he sitho aikte. We have now reached spring and everything's turning green. And washteshte shakema unkakte. So we get to see another beautiful day. So le along now to aku kuka you wachek ke kogashla kopcha he wopilat kanka. You have to give thanks for all the good things that the Creator has provided us. And laku to wake hena ektos option hane e woche ke ekhake unich apcha he. Isa ota oyatum kit khab omani bna tokeske chunke ke woche ke anicha. We pray for all of those relatives who are searching to find their balance. There are many of our people who are need to be addressed when it comes to finding that spirituality in your life. So hena so we asked our Great Spirit to help those who are in need. And we ask that you give blessings and encouragement to our people who are dealing with mourning and sickness, unable to be able to do things that were given to us. And akohe bilo ota akichita okit khapki nupia chashagna and we akichita ki hena isha tektel upki hena ochiket khag nach una hena oki aye. We asked grandfather to help our loved ones, our warriors, men and women who are off in countries, dangerous places, to guide them and give them strength. And ako tuake hena maza tipi unki hena isha hena ushech che hena wochek ya nichap chana ijana oki aye. We also ask for blessings for our relatives who are incarcerated. And a tuake hena kuhe akuku nichap ke hena ushech chena ocheke okinanena toksha tohantuka isha ieyokte. You will find that balance. Those of us kisha hana shalom kiapke hana apetio gere to hawa kapcha dila techikelo. We give thanks for our elderly, or each day is a blessing for us as we prepare ourselves spiritually, and be very, very thankful that we meet each day So only when I cook wakan shall guy of now. You have a check on Kaka, on Yakob child. Yeah, on it hocker, Wochika, you have a kaka. So we always give thanks to our Creator for all the things that He's bestowed on us to give us strength and guidance to continue our life with our grandchildren. So I won't hokashle. Hate topa taka hena oye na ibogla na wacheka okaka pinach ona koki apiet hokashila. Mushi apiet hokashila. Oh, mitaki awasi.
Oh, Pidamaya, Mitakuye. Uh, so yeah, week 31 of our podcast, and customarily, what we try to do is announce some winners from the previous week. So, but this prayer gets us started off in a good way, kind of gets our mind right. So, again, thank you, Dexy Earl, for that beautiful prayer. So our week 30 drawing winners. So we have the Cho jacket. The winner of that jacket is Mr. Nick Ingman. There we go. That's the about started our song again. That's okay. So congratulations, Nick Ingman. And then also we have a Kindle Fire tablet, and the winner of that is Miss Emily Patch. Winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations to Nick and Emily for your for winning that jacket and Kindle Fire. Again, you can redeem those prizes at Student Services, Fort Peck Community College, War Eagle Vision Building, located at main campus. If you do not live close or near to Poplar, you can just give them a call, 406-768-6370, and just ask for Olivia, and they'll be able to hook you up, mail you out those prizes. So again, congratulations. And for those of you that are joining us out on Facebook world and social media, give us a like, give us a share. That's how you get your name in the hat for the weekly drawing. So next week we'll announce the winners. So we'll try and do our best to post those. So that's how we, I guess, encourage participation. That's how we get the word out about the podcast, because this idea was conceived, I guess, on this notion that we would talk about mental health issues utilizing culture, language. We have these awesome individuals like Mr. Tommy Christian and Dexy Earl that share with us and give us some good content every week. So maybe for this week, Earl, I don't know what your thoughts on it are, but maybe we're always trying to, the last couple of weeks, and we talk a little bit about leadership and some of these virtues, and there's so many good things to talk about. And I got some really awesome news last week, was that we were awarded a grant that we had talked about from the American Indian College Fund to do some cultural workshops. And one of those workshops was Chanchecha Kakapi. So that's really cool. I think we talked about, if that was funded, that Dexter Earl might come over to Poplar, Wakchinjo, Wakpa. We could do a workshop on making of the drum. And so that's a topic we could talk about. There's all kinds of Hana Woya copy that Dexter has been sharing with us. So what do you think, Dexter Earl?
I was kind of thinking about subject matter and what we're going to discuss today. And Brother Tom said, he said, it's wide open. You guys will have to handle it today. So I was thinking, well, what can I share that people would be interested in? And we talk about good health, and we talk about mental health and all this stuff. I experienced that through, how would you call it, road of recovery. And as that proceeding took place, there were a lot of emotions that I experienced and went through. A lot of things I resolved because I was stubborn and always bumping heads with my wife, my missus, and learning about the various other perspectives that our people exercised. And we're told some of these things as we were younger. My mom used to say, he said, just walk away. Don't ever argue with your wife or your missus. So I exercised that. And I learned that it's not doing any good to try to be. It's better to work together than try to be the boss of the whole thing. So there's lessons to be learned. But what I'd like to share is an excerpt or a few of these things that I ran across in my sobriety. And this particular work that I did was something that I never really gave it any thought. It seemed like it just kept happening. The song that I first composed was a sobriety song. And I thought to myself, I said, I learned how to cry. I learned how to pray. And so I put those things together and I composed a song that will help me check that balance and keep walking on what we call walking the red road. And so over the years, a lot of people listen to the work that I've done, but I chose not to put the words in the songs in the text or on the covers of the CD or a text. I kept that for myself. So in a sense, I was kind of greedy. And so in the years that had gone by, I said, well, there was a reason why I was hesitant about doing that, because there's a lot of interpretation of words that I chose to use. I did not know how to say a sober and drug-free life. That I didn't know. I didn't know how to say that in Lakota or Dakota. But what I attempted to do is I attempted to explain through songs what was happening in my lifetime. And so one of the things that one of my friends wrote is part of this text is, as we walk down the road of life, we sing these Dakota, Lakota songs to help keep us in step with our culture. And of course, my Dakota name is Nietzsche Ole. Now, for many, many years, I interpret that Nietzsche Ole as the curious one. But it didn't dawn on me till in older years that Nietzsche Ole in the older texts is translated as looks for the poor. And I thought to myself, looks for the poor. I said, how does that pertain to me in the work that I've done or the way I look at life? And I see it more and more now in my kids, my children that I teach, how much they're missing because they're not getting this at home. And so, and that involves everybody. I just can't say just our people. We're taught not to use that attitude. If somebody wants to learn, then you have to make an effort to help them. You know, you can't be ethnocentric, that our way is the only way. It never was meant to be like that. And so I said, okay, if an opportunity arises, then I will share this. So it's on text and all that kind of stuff. But it's really interesting to go back and look at these things because it's really something. You know, my cousin Frank Bullhead, his family tree goes back to Young Bears. His mom, Auntie Vivian, is enrolled in 3 affiliated tribes. And because of that, Frank brought me a tape, and it was done by a gentleman who was half Assiniboine and half, or part, I should say, 3 affiliated, and also relatives down here in Standing Rock. And finding that word and meaning, wakea is to protect. That was easy enough. But shinakaki, wakie, is the whole word. And I kept looking in dictionaries. I kept looking and asking people, and they would, Tony here, you know, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't help you, And so I put it through different equalizers. I put it through different speeds and all this working on that song. And it became an attraction. It became a way of keeping my mind and my body and my soul busy. And so one day, out of getting near frustration, about ready to give up on the song, I went to my cousin's place who had a nice stereo. And I asked him to play it. And my Auntie Rosie was sitting there. She liked to sit by the big picture window and watch cars go by. And so I'm sitting here listening to this. And all of a sudden, she said, Dr. Shahed, she said, what are you looking for? I said, Dr. Chabe, Auntie. And she said, Ahani tuake tia wahe umki hena tuktel etipiki atios lolea. Everybody in that tiwahe knew their place in that circle. And so Shinaka Kihewakie is how they placed everybody in that camp circle. So all the families and all that, they all knew exactly where to put their tents in order. And I said, geez, that's powerful, And so then I could be able to sing that song. So Shinaka Kihewakie Tit Hapado. Everybody knew their place in the camp circle. So when you go back and look at all the words and things you have to go through to find the meanings of that, it's what we do as balance, but also research. And it's not often that the opportunity arises for people to hear it. I think I've only presented this to two different ones at two occasions. And I didn't cover all of the songs, but in part, some of the important songs. And so I put them all in order. So I got 14 songs that have been recorded and put on, how would you say it, CD. Stepped over away from cassettes onto CD. Now it's flash drives, and then now it's what we're doing. Yeah. So anyway, so being enlightened, not to give up and to continue doing that kind of stuff. My missus said, you better start recording a lot of those songs you've worked on, because there's come a time when you're not going to remember that. I said, that's coming close to reality. Some of the songs I've composed for people throughout the years, I can only remember a few words of the song. So I rely on my son. He's young and he remembers a lot of the songs and the tunes. And so there's a shoulder individual that I can count on to remember those songs. Number two, a song that I didn't really fully understand what Kawapaha meant. I graduated from electronic school in California, and I came back and there was a celebration in Bismarck, North Dakota. They call it United Tribes International Finals, Kawapaha. And so when the flag song was sung, they went to porcupine singers. And so everybody in the arena stood up and they were singing, and I could hear words. And so I would, when they finished, I asked people, I said, hey, Olong, they Dr. Chabe, what does that song mean? And they looked at me and said, I don't know. He said, you'll have to ask my grandpa. So I go down the ladder, and I used to write all of these down in popcorn boxes, napkins, whatever was available when it caught my ear. And so I started listening to that song, and I found out that this song, right, Hawapa Oloa, is when all the headsmen and achas went to Washington, D.C., that they selected a song to act as their theme song or their flag song. And so Hawapaha really means your deeds, what you do in life. The accomplishments that people do, Hawapaha, and hence the awarding of feathers and valor and bravery and all that comes into play. So that's each one of us have that kawapaha. So some families, Teoshpais adopt one, but there were many. There were never just one. But because there were so many that different tribes, they all decided to go with this one, the South Dakota one. So they call it kawapaha. And that's the song that was sung by porcupine singers. So there are different versions of other ones. They call it the Montana flag song. And then there's songs from each tribe now, which is powerful. It's nice to hear that I have all these songs are becoming either created or brought back from the past. So you get to hear the original pronunciations, the versions. So it's very enlightening for me to be able to sit back and listen to all that. Anyway, it says, Iechika kiham makake obo chaya. Initroncha or initrancha. It says, it means you were amongst the Germans, but they call them bad words. You were amongst them. And it says, Mila Haska Kiha, and they wanted to rule the world. It said, Mila Haska Kiha, you saw the long knives. Nake Wola Kotayachi, now you want to talk about peace. So this is a song that I obtained from not the South Dakota one, but from the one I got from Lala Joe.
Oh, wow.
And when he sang it to me sitting along the power grounds outside in this parking lot, it didn't take me long to pick it up right away. It just seemed like it just was the right time, right place. And so I learned it, wrote it up, put in a text, taught it to other singers, and it's hardly ever used, but it's a good song. And that song was sung here in Fort Yates by the older guys, Eddie Loon and what the heck's his name? I can't remember them now. Good Iron. And then there was older ones that had ones who made this song. So that song, particular one, is from Fort Yates. But what I did was I did the text in a free translation, and then I call it the spirit of song. And then I describe the usage of song. And any other little details, all right, I would make notations on the text. So if I'm boring anybody, tell me now, because we can talk about something else. But anyway, to me, this is an opportunity to let people know that there still needs to be a lot of work done on our songs. There are collections out there that haven't even been touched yet. Okay, now this is interesting. Wokiksuya, Oloa, a memorial song. We deal with a lot of those memorial songs because of our losing of our relatives. Mitaka kiha se tewachilacha, plehemichie. Sahela kolwi chocha ki tewachila ilo. And tueseche kona. Tueseche kona is a word used when somebody doesn't have a name or you don't know their name. So you put that in a song. Tueseche kona. Someone who once was but no longer with us. Hina iaye has been amongst us and now has gone. It said, the man that I grew up with in Bullitt, South Dakota, hummed the song while we were around the drum, and I immediately became interested in the spirit of song. I don't know who composed it or where it came from. All I know is that it touched my heart, and my buddy I grew up with, Louis Foote, was the singer who introduced me to this honor song. It was a few months later that during a relative's memorial that I again heard this memorial song. This time it was being rendered by the Rock Creek Singers of Bullhead, South Dakota. So I always give references to where I found it, where I heard it, and give credit to those who have worked on it. So now it's interesting because things happen in certain ways that how would you say, astonish you. There's a gentleman, Noah Noah has horns. And what happened was there was a program in Bismarck at United Tribes called American Indian Curriculum Development Program. And they hired people to go out, interview elderly people and record them. And I just happened to come back from University in North Dakota. And I was looking for work. And my aunt, she said, if you're not doing anything, she said, there's a few little things you can help me with. And she said, what's that? She said, can you help me record songs? You got an engineering background? He said, can you do something like that? I said, sure. I said, I'm not doing nothing. I said, so yeah, I'll help you. And so what happened was I was walking by the desk and here there was a cassette tape. You know, when a machine eats the tape, it's all wrapped up around it. And here they put it in a trash can. And I said, what's that doing in there? They said, it's no good. I said, can I have it? Because it had the name Noah Has Horns on it. And my mom introduced me to that man. I knew who he was. So she said, oh yeah, it's no good anymore. So I took it and I fixed it, spliced it and did all that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, this is one of the songs that came out of it. And it's called Chesapa Oloa. Chesapa Oloa. Right? It's the Humpapa song for the Black Hills. It's a Tonkashila he Chesapa ki Chawama ki acha. You have given me the responsibility for taking in of the care of the Black Hills. So leha iotie wakie, so I'm doing the best I can. And so for many years, I often wondered if there were songs for the Black Hills. And here, just out of fate, I found it in the trash can. And there are many other songs that are on that tape that I've yet translated yet. But I thought this was significant, all right, because I could teach these to the kids because it was a short song, not too many words. And so it became part of the recording. And so that too has a free translation, spirit of song, and the usage of the song and the history where I got it. Now, this next song is called Prehi Haska, long hair, Custer. You know, where was it? I was in England someplace, or some guy come up to me, he said, how's Gustav? He said. I looked at him, Gustav? He said, yeah. He said, don't you know anything about Custer? I said, no, I didn't know. I didn't know what Gustav meant. Anyway, it says, Prehi Haska, which was the name they used to describe him because of his long hair. Nata Yahi Pelo, it says, they come to Kauku. He said, Lakota Kohan, Nata Yahi Pelo. But in the meantime, they already knew they were coming. You know, they already knew that they were be dealing with them. And so Koha means in the meantime, and Nataya Hipelo is you too are ready for battle. Mila Haska Koinse Shea Natampelo. And then the course of the battle, now all the long knives are crying. They've met their end. And so it's interesting because Lala Joe played a tape for me. And he said, Hey Olong, he said, Hey Tonkashin He Tkawa. That is your grandfather's song. I didn't know that before. So a lot of interesting history comes into play when you're looking and researching all these songs. And I hope that encourages other people to do that, you know. It's not too often we get to share a lot of this stuff. Now, this next song is called Preji Miganaka Oloa. You know, years ago, the bustles were done, just small rounder ones with eagle feathers up on the top and trails on the bottom. So when I was researching this song, I said years ago, I said, He said, well, how do they, nowadays we have grand entry. So I said, I said, how do they participate in these things? She said, by their deeds, what their accomplishments were. That's how they would adorn themselves with grass. They'd make, grass on their backs or on their sides, and then they would come into the arbor for whatever it is that they were going to do, honor or celebrate. And so they came in by stature. And so then when the Prejimiganaka came along, the small bustles, whether it's made out of crow feathers or it's made out of hawk feathers or whatever, that's called a Prejimiganaka. And so I translated the songs. It's Hela Kolwi Chochanki Iha Wektailo. I have arisen, I have grown up thinking about the ways of our people. He Prejimiganaka Hea. Hea Chokata Hea Waulo. So because of those, I'm out here dancing with my Prejimiganaka, my little bustle or the bustle that they first started using. Now you got great big ones in them. They have a name for that too, but I didn't pay much attention to that. All right. A lot of these are starting to bring back memories. Wakata ke ahituana. This is a song that one day I said, how often do we look up into the clouds or we look into the sky? We've become so ingrained looking at things linear, and oftentimes we forget to look up. And so I said, geez, I wonder how I can put that words to encourage people to be thankful, to look up, and give thanks for being who we are, for all people. And so wakate akia ahitoa. So look upwards. Now blehichi humble yourself. He says, oyate ke techichi umpo. So live in a cherished life. Live a cherished life, my people. Otechi gelo. It's hard to come by. So mitakuya kiha taya iyuk champo. So think of yourselves in a good way. Ulakotapalo. We are friends and allies. So I haven't had the opportunity to utilize this song, but I did record it. It is on that CD, Walking the Red Road. There's a picture of me. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but a picture of that CD with an old man. His face shows his age. And it's a red album, and it's got this old guy in there. And here, I was at a Sundance, singing at a Sundance. I sang for Sundance for 20 years straight. I was out Cheyenne Crossing in the Black Hills, and they honored me with a blanket. So this little girl come running up there and looked at me, and she said, "You're not Earl Bullhead. You're supposed to be an old man." So they put that picture of that old guy on there. Now, this song is very, how would you, touches the heart. Sometimes you get intervention that you're not really aware of. And it's one of those Wokiksi Olons. My missus is from Fort Teton, and her grandpa was Daniel Green Sr. And the trailer house that we lived in at her folks' place, just north of us, not more than, I'd say 25, 30 feet, was his trailer house. And so whenever the kids wanted to dance, or the kids, I would take the drum out and I would sing. And so the kids could dance, practice dancing. And so he would listen to it over there. And my mother-in-law bought a intercom, so it could be a little louder for him over there. And so the years that we spent there, we became really good friends. And wasn't soon after a few years went by there, he started getting ill. And my kids call him Grandpa Great. And so Dan and I used to visit a lot about history of the reservation and things that he had experienced in life. So we were really close. And so time came for the services and all that was done for him at the church and prayers and people condoling everybody, consoling everyone. I was standing as they were shoveling dirt, and I got this intervention, so to speak, spirit of song. And I kept saying it over and over, expressing what I felt was appropriate at that time. And so a year later, at his memorial, I told my missus, I said, last year when Grandpa was great, when Cordell was being laid to rest, I said, this song came to me. I don't know whether to share it or it's appropriate or will people mind. Because you got to remember, a lot of my in-laws are very church people. And so then right then and there, she said, why don't you sing it? And so I asked people for their indulgence, and I sang this song. It says, Tonkashlea ni chincha wana guelo. Grandfather, he said, one of your children is returning. He wana guelo, he's returning. He wana guelo. It says, Undake he said, all our relatives, Ikchewichasha, Iukchan, common men, we're thinking as common men, umpalo, we're living that way. So he ushila po. So give us purpose, give us a goal. Ushila po. So give us purpose and a goal. And didn't realize that how this would become utilized for many, many people in Pine Ridge. So whenever there's people requesting and getting over their sorrows and stuff, they play a lot of this song here. Mm. So it's powerful. Oh, Wo Ishte Olon, love song. They said, I've always wanted to try singing some traditional love songs. So I looked around and found this song while I was in San Francisco. I was out there doing some song supervising for a video called Ride to Wounded Knee. They were using a tape released out of the Library of Congress, National Archives in DC. I asked if these songs could be slowed down, and they did exactly that. I was surprised and was really excited about this procedure. I then requested a copy of the slowed down version, and those chose these two love songs to translate and to sing. He says, I'm going around in a circle. What he means is that he's going around. It's looking for a spouse or a mate, So I'm going everywhere looking for that special one, So it says, I'm looking to have a big family, because that was very important in the older days. You'd be having more productive. We had a big family. It says, it says, Ochonala, it's very few. So there's not that many available. So ota echela kesha. So it says, because of that, it's the kesha ayahia echela waglione. So all I've got to show for it is the song. So he did not find that special person. He was looking for a particular family that he could marry into, but he couldn't find it. It's a pretty good love song, yeah.
Oh yeah. What's that one called again?
That one's called. This was taken off of. I first heard this song by what's his name? The old timer off Pine Ridge. but he couldn't understand it because it was sang too fast, you know. They speed it up. And that was one of the common practices when they did a long time ago, because that ensured that it would stay stronger longer.
Oh, okay.
It was played faster, speed wise. You know, and let's see, I can't remember right now. Paul Horncloud. There you go, Paul Horncloud. And Gilbert One-Bull was another one. That one, a friend of mine found a copy of the words in the Chicago Museum. Now, that's because of relocation program. A lot of our residents on the reservation looking for work and were eligible for this program went to live in the city and work. And so apparently he went to the museum and sang these songs. You know, my dad did that one time. He made a pipe out of our Christmas tree, took it to the museum, and a concord so we can get some money for their food, you know. Character. And then this one I really like because one of these days I'm gonna do something with this one. Ito api kile, which is your face. Ito api kile, your picture. Yuha namikiksuya. Remember me with this picture. It's me, Hemielo. Said Shiche ito api kile. Yuha meiksia. Remember me. Mielo, it's me, you know. You won't see me for a long time. Sosh, lehal ampetuki iohila. Alex, anytime you want to see me, you can pull this picture out and see me. So it's me. I'm in this picture. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, heck
I was thinking about singing it and putting all these pictures of all boarding school pictures of kids that were off to boarding school, or even veteran pictures, because that was a very important thing, you know, like to see your image on a piece of paper in the years past was kind of frightening for a lot of people because they hadn't seen anything like that before. You know, even Crazy Horse, he didn't want his picture taken. And my dad was that way. But they caught him anyway, by accident. And then, of course, love songs traces back to what they call kahomini oloa, you know, what we call a round dance now. But that's, our kahomini is a double, just like this, but the other one they use is scratch beat, you know. Anyway, I like this one because this gives us a view of what people believed in back in the day. He said, this song was obtained from Mr. Ephraim Hill of St. Michael, North Dakota. Mr. Hill is known for being a singer of the Oklahominy songs. I was fortunate to learn this song. Also, I must remember to say Wopila to Buddy Alberts, who kept pronouncing the words over and over, tongue twister as they call it. Wachi mi chi chi unkhan. Thought of myself of a man and here. So we cha mi chi chi unkhan. He said, I thought of myself as a man, and then I heard this owl hooting. You know, they believed that the owl was a messenger. And here he said, Aho, I became scared. So knowing that, he said, in the morning, it says, I will leave in the morning. I will travel in the morning. I won't travel at night, because he heard this owl singing. He heard this owl hooting. You know, that's pretty cool. I've had my experience with those things. And this one too is, it says, my sweetheart, I heard that you were put in jail. No, they arrested. If you looked at your, if grandma didn't like the way you looked at her daughter, or she'd put what they call they had cohabitation law. So she didn't like you. She'd tell the cops they put you in jail right away. You know, and 40 days, that's where that came in, you know. Oh, 40 days. It makes my heart sad to hear this. When you get out, look here and there for me, and I'll be waiting, crying. That's a lot of commitment song, you know. So DRA, it says Nikashkapi is to be tied up or to be locked up. Kealpi, they say Ukhan Shante Mashiche. Yeah. So my heart's gotten saddened. And Nana Etomayo, so look around. He said, Chea Nawaji, you'll find me crying. So that's kind of a strong commitment to your loved one that you're, and there's a lot of other stories that can reinforce that, sacrifices that women have done for their men. Okay. Okay, this particular song is called Shumska Akaya Ke Oloa, White Horse Rider song. It's kind of the middle-aged society that existed here on Standing Rock. And it says, He kola piela, he meksuya pielo. So remember me. It says, He mietka. He mietkaya. I said, it was once me. Manama taku nishni. He said, I'm nothing now. He shunska akaya kechchi he hina iaya. So this member of this society who was once amongst us has now gone on. And it's interesting because when you're learning songs, there's certain tunes that you hear and you just pick it up and you sing it and you hear it other places, but you really don't know what they mean. This particular song was sung for Crazy Horse, Sitting Bull, Red Cloud, and it's like the tune is, you can easily adapt the words to that tune. And so the same tune is used in Fort Teton for a flag song. They put their words in it. And then journeyed up to Sioux Valley. Same tune, they put their words in it. But the first recording of this was done in 1910. And it was a White Horse Rider song in memorial, they called it. Well, I liked the song so much, I started researching it. And I just had a flimsy old drum, hand drum, and didn't really know how to make them really good yet. And here my aunt asked me, she said, and there was Jeanette, there was Maxine, there's all these ladies sitting here. They were talking treaty issues. They're talking oral history. They call them the Magnificent Seven. They'd go up and get on the agenda at the tribal office. And so a lot of the tribal council members found out they're on the agenda, they would leave because they would bring information, things that pertaining to their districts and things like that. So they were called the Magnificent Seven. Anyway, he says, while I was working on some other songs and the tapes I received from Hoka Inaji. Now, Hoka Inaji brought the Densmore collection on cassette to my house when I lived by the college in Yates. He said, I know someday you'll do something with this. I suddenly recognized this tune. The collection from which I translated this song is in a book by Francis Densmore called Songs of the Teton. Now remember, the proper word for that is Teton. Teton. We're not Tetons, like the mountain or the hills, the mountains. It's Teton. That's what prairie dwellers, Teton. When they were going to publish the first newspaper on the reservation, I seen that, and so I called them. I said, you would do the world a favor and educating our people, not only that, but others, by calling it Teton. And she responded, she said, well, when you get your own newspaper, you can call it whatever you want. And hung up on me. So that ingrained behavior is still something we have to work with. I recognize this tune from the collection that I intended. There are 8 different texts to this tune. all of which are adapted to fit this occasion. I decided to do this version because of that era in which it was recorded. I sang the song to one of my aunts, and she titled it as a song in memorial. There are a lot of elders that still remember the old songs. I have used this song for a flag song since the tune is similar to the flag song popular amongst other Siouan tribes. This song can be used for memorial and also for teaching about history, customs, and also for enjoyment. You know? So I thought that was really unique because I sang it the best I could. And when I had done, when I finished, and I did the proper thing, I asked Tokashila to hear me sing so I could do my best and give thanks. But when I opened my eyes, the grandmas were sitting there just quiet. And my auntie had tears in her eyes. She said, that's a song that was used to honor the white horse riders in memorial. She said, we haven't heard that for many, many years. You keep it up. You keep doing what you're doing. And that's where the encouragement of Spirit of Song came from. So everything I do, Spirit of Song is my copyright. Shungska Aka Loa, the White Horse song. This is a song that they used when people got through with their itucha, your giveaway. So when that's all over, they sang a song so they can commemorate, and so they'd go out and they'd raise their whatever they got, soap or bowls or whatever they got, kettles or whatever they used to, right? And so Oyate Kiha Oke Apo, they said, people help this individual out because they've given everything away. So Tuese Chekon, this is where you put their Indian name in there. Wana Aglo Sote. She has given, or he has given everything that he has in on to honor his relatives. So he's got to start all over. So let's help him. It's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, very powerful. Yeah.
And so as we journey to on this red road of many colors, let us share the wisdom of our ancestors so that one day the generations yet unborn may also follow in the footsteps of the elderly. Proud and reverently, we will give thanks for all those who have gone on before us and to those yet to come. Opila Tranka, Hechia, Hechituelo, Micha Ole, Ake Earl Bole.
Now, Earl, these are all from the tape that went in the garbage that you rescued, or these are from the.
Some of them, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Others are songs that I either heard at celebrations or composed.
Oh.
You know, like Ni Chicha Wana Kulo, that memorial song for Grandpa Great, that came to me. You know, so hence that's how it all fits into what I call the spirit of song.
Yeah, that's one of my fave jams. I got it on my phone, man. I always.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's out there. But people are paying attention.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, so I got 13 of these texts.
13 of them. Oh, and it sounds like you have a bunch more to transcribe.
Yeah, there are songs I've forgotten. I composed and can't remember. So my son just sit around a bit and we pick it back up. So I'm glad I did this because, you know, like, you just don't have that powerful lungs anymore. You don't have that strong voice anymore. Your oxidation rate in your body is not as strong as it used to be. And you look back and say, well, I've done my best. You know, this is proof. This is things that can be taught to other kids or people can enjoy. I'll tell you something coincidental. We were coming back from, what was it, Reno, I think it was? There was some meeting down that way. And there was a guy who was getting gas in front of me. And he was from, let's see, he was from, lived in Nevada someplace, but he was a Lakota guy. Anyway, he wrote to me later. Anyway, he was gassing up, waiting for his gas. He put his arm on top of the gas pump and he felt something, and there was a CD. So he took it and looked at it like this, and he cleaned it up and he started playing it, and here it was me.
Huh.
You know,
Oh, wow.
just like I was told one time by this dance group that went and toured the world, this Native American dance theater or something like that. They said when they're at a hotel over there, it was Italy. There was a little young man that he was not native, but he was asking if he could, trying to talk to them because he didn't speak English very well. So they kind of ignored him. Well, what they did was they were allowed to go up on the top floor, practice songs and dancing to get ready for the theater presentations.
Yeah.
And there's somehow that guy pulled in, that young guy. He found him, you know, and they're trying to tell him they're practicing and stuff. And so he opened up his bag and he pulled out a tape, you know, and he showed it to them. And that was the Spirit of Song tape that we did to the college, you know. So they were kind of surprised that he had it. And so he went over and grabbed the drum and he started singing some of those songs.
Wow. Really cool.
Yeah, media. That's how things get around.
Yeah, archived it for a long time. So, I really appreciate everything you shared today, Earl. There's a lot of wealth of information, and those of us that are trying to learn and understand the language, this is like a gold mine what you shared with us. We definitely appreciate that, Earl. We're at the top of our hour, Dex. Unless there's anything else you want to share, maybe we'll just wrap it up. Man, that hour flew by.
Geez, I guess so. Well, yeah, I didn't know it took up that much time.
Yeah, no, it was good. That's
Yeah, well,
have a good time. Eyes.
well, he asked us to be adaptable, so
Yeah, heck yeah.
yeah.
Oha, Midakuyepi. We're at the end of the session today. Next week we'll be back at our regularly scheduled time, Thursdays at 3 o'clock. So until then, Midakuyepi doksta ake.
Hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey ha ya hey ya hey ha hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ukiebino yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo wata pepe hagi tabi ihashi ya bino hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey yo hey ha yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey Fort Beck Community College Ukiebino yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo wata pebi hagik tabi ihachi ya bino hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya yo, hey ya yo, hey yo hey yo, hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya, hey ha ya hey ha hey yo hey yo. Fort Beck Community College, ungi ebino yo yo, me too gashi dagush kashka iogi piano yo yo, wata pebi hagik tabi ihachi ya bino, hey yo hey yo. Hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey ha yo hey yo hey yo, hey ha ya hey ya yo, hey ya hey ha yo hey yo hey yo, hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha hey yo hey yo hey yo. Fort Peck Community College, ungi ebino yo yo, me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo yo, wata pebi hagik tabi ihachi ya bino, hey